The orphan who defied an empire. The tragic courage of Sophie Scholl. She knew she was going to die. She stood before the guillotine, just 21 years old, eyes open, heart defiant. And her final words? What does my death matter? If through us, thousands of people are awakened and stirred to action. This is not a legend. This is the true story of Sophie Scholl, German student who dared to fight Hitler from inside Nazi Germany. She was born in 1921 in the small town of Fortenberg, Germany. Bright, curious, full of joy, a painter, a reader, a dreamer. Her father was a pacifist. Her mother, a nurse during World War I. Their home taught empathy and moral clarity. But as Hitler rose to power, the world Sophie knew began to change. By the age of 12, she was part of the League of German Girls, the female branch of Hitler Youth. It was expected. Everyone joined. But the chants and salutes never sat right with her. She saw Jewish classmates disappear without explanation. Books banned, teachers silenced, friends whispering in fear. And the questions began. Why? How could a nation call itself great while turning its people into tools of cruelty? Sophie began to push back. Quietly at first, reading banned texts, listening to BBC broadcasts, seeking truth in a world of lies. She enrolled at the University of Munich in 1942, studying biology and philosophy. There, she met kindred spirits. Among them, her older brother Hans Schilland. Together, they became the beating heart of a small, radical student resistance group, the White Rose. They weren't soldiers. They weren't spies. Just students, wielding nothing but words. They began writing leaflets, powerful, beautifully written pamphlets condemning Hitler, the war, the genocide of Jews, and the silence of ordinary Germans. They typed them, copied them, mailed them to random addresses across Germany. Each leaflet a quiet explosion. Each sentence a risk of death. One leaflet read, "Since the conquest of Poland, 300,000 Jews have been murdered in this country in the most bestial manner. We do not want to be silent. We are your bad conscience. The White Rose will not leave you in peace." It was intellectual warfare, a war against apathy. And Sophie was at its center, transporting paper in her suitcase, dodging Gestapo agents, watching for informants. February 18, 1943. A cold morning. The Scholl siblings arrive at Munich University with a suitcase full of the sixth leaflet. Classrooms are quiet. Hallways echo. They leave stacks outside lecture halls, on windows, and then Sophie sees the top floor. She climbs it, looks down over the atrium, and throws the remaining leaflets into the air. They flutter like snow-falling pages of rebellion. But a janitor sees them, a loyal Nazi. He reports them. The Gestapo arrive within hours. Sophie and Hans are arrested, interrogated, beaten, threatened, but they refuse to name names. On February 22nd, just 4 days later, they are brought before the people, Escortagem trial presided over by the infamous Judge Roland Freisler. The charge is high treason, undermining the war effort. The sentence, death. The trial lasts less than a day. Their friend Christoph Probst is also sentenced, a young father with children. He begged for mercy. It was denied. That same afternoon, all three are led to the guillotine. Witnesses say Sophie walked with dignity, no screams, no fear. Her last words, before the blade fell, echoed through time. Such a fine, sunny day, and I have to go. What does my death matter? If through us, thousands of people are awakened and stirred to action. She was just 21. The Gestapo tried to erase them. They confiscated their writings, silenced students, burned a trail of resistance. But they couldn't stop the truth. The White Rose leaflets were smuggled out of Germany. In 1943, millions of copies of their final leaflet were dropped over Germany by Allied planes, turning Sophie Scholl into a symbol far greater than her years. Today, her statue stands outside that same university. Schools across Germany bear her name, and her words are carved in stone, not because she won, but because she dared to stand. This isn't a story of victory. It's a story of conscience, of a girl who saw the world crumbling and said, "Not in my name." She could have stayed quiet, lived a normal life, survived, but she chose truth, and it cost her everything. We often think resistance needs armies, but sometimes it starts with a printer, a pen, a 21-year-old girl tossing leaflets into the wind. The White Rose didn't topple the Nazis, but they planted seeds. Seeds that told the German people, we are not all the same. Not all of us bowed. Not all of us stayed silent. And in that silence, Sophie Scholl's voice still roars. Keywords: Sophie Scholl, White Rose, resistance, Nazi Germany.